What's up, YouTube, and welcome to the Blue Collar Crypto Show. My name is Joe, better known as Dr. Biteball, and we're going to be taking a look at the charts today. So immediately, let's get over to screen share and just basically get right into it. All right, get this out the way. Let's start by looking at our favorite website, CoinMarketCap.com. Hold up, double back, make sure it's working. There we go. All right, so I'm taking a look at the markets and pretty much everything. Red, down, 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 except for Tether for some reason, and Nano. Oh, this pisses me off. This royally pisses me off considering what has happened with Biteball over the last few days. And believe me, I'm going to get into that in a minute. But to see Nano having a 17% gain on a day like today, it just really pisses me off. There's no other way to describe it. Pretty much everything's down with a few anomalies here and there. But, you know, a few things you never heard of. Biteball all the way down to 74. Absolutely horrible, $400. I don't even want to talk about Biteball right now and what's been going on in that community. But we'll get into it in a little while. Let's go over to the charts. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin here. Let's get the pop-ups out the way. This is Bitcoin on the daily. As you can see, it takes us back to October, all the way up to 20 grand here and the subsequent correction. And for those of you who are used to seeing it on more like the yearly chart, there you go. It looks a little more familiar. And so let's just sort of dive into some analysis here. Bitcoin had a very nice run from reaching its low of like 5,800 and just coming right back up on the daily chart. Good momentum. Took a little break right here, but nice job heading back almost to 12 grand. But look at this. Peak to peak like that. Still got some pressure up here. Now, some people in the market were speculating, saying, okay, maybe it'll come up to like 12.5, 12.6 in this neighborhood. But then you had to factor in the other pressure, which was, let's do horizontal ray right here. The area right before the initial surge breakout. And we draw the horizontal line here because the principle of pressure turn support or support turn pressure. So this was initially by support. It crashed through that. Now it becomes pressure. And there you go. So now the grand question is in this market is, where's it going? All right. We'll get a little more exact. Let's go to the 4-hour. And let's draw a ray at the very bottom. Then one more ray at the base of that, like where it came up and then plateaued and found some support, where it tested and eventually broke here and here. Let's also graph the downward angle of the last two peaks. Let's make that one a different color too. A little pink wouldn't hurt. And hate to draw this one, but blows. That's good enough. So now taking us just back to the daily here. Now we want to try to find any sort of bull trends. So before the huge breakout, the above 8,000 breakout, let's map some bottoms here. Previous two dips, our trend of lows, as we can call it. And then the two behind that, make all these a different color. That one yellow, make that one red, that'll work. All right, now once again, guys, this is not an exact science, but using these trends, we can get some idea of where support, pressure, and resistance can be. And right now, just getting in a little closer, heading through the month of March, having met the resistance at about 12,000, heading back south, given how much we came up, I think we're going to be pretty bearish for a few weeks. The question is that, we've broken below 10,000. That's a psychological barrier. And that could result in some pressure. Of course, this is even more speculative at 10,000. So I'm going to use the dotted ray. We'll draw that right where it broke. Boom. And that one, well, you can't really see that it's dotted, but that'll be a point of pressure now, support during pressure. Psychological barrier. 9,000, given psychological trends, whole numbers could also mean some support. So let's draw a horizontal line at that one. And we'll make that one money green because why not? And then the way that markets like to come down at the same angle they go up, like for example, pretty damn close, up and down quick, you know what I'm saying? It's not exact, but we might be able to speculate some downward movement in, it's a weird color, but we can fix that. Let's make it solid so you can see it better in that area. And coming down to test 9,000. I think that's a pretty reasonable prediction. Again, this is not financial advice. This is a blue-collar guy speculating on his computer. But given the way the charts look and where the pressure seems to be setting up, now, of course, crypto could change everything. The news could turn around, but, let's try to graph some shorter-term bull trends that could help bolster the buy support. So let's go to the 4-hour here. And what we're concerned with now, graphing any trend of lows is they corresponded to the more recent bull trend. So let's get our ray gun here. Bottom peak through here. Definitely crashed below that. So that doesn't seem to be holding. Let's say, maybe we count like back here or something, but now I feel like this is just this confirmation bias graph drawing. Like I feel like I'm just trying to find some support that just isn't there. So 9,000 is a good psychological barrier. 8,500. If we see the price in the next few days getting down to $9,000, 8,500, I would say come into it conservatively. The big question is once it hits 9,000, or if it drops below 8,500, that's when I'd get real concerned. If we come to this in, let's say, a month and the market has generally just come down all the way to here, like 7,000. That's a concern because now we're getting close to the double negative little principle, like down here, testing it again. And that would require breaking through a very, very old bull trend, like from last year. So I would be getting pretty nervous if the price got down here. But then again, the double negative can often mean it just bounces. And then just to show you what these things can look like here, guys. I'm not saying this is what will or could happen, but you know what I'm saying? Down in touch. But then again, crypto gets real negative, tries to come down and test. Maybe it comes down all the way to 3,000. See this little low here? You notice? And I say that because, look, it came down to here, which is about where this dip is. When it came down like real sharp here, corresponds with a sharp dip here. It's weird, but it happens. I'm not saying I know why. I'm just saying I'm seeing it. So I would be real careful with Bitcoin right now. Getting into it might mean catching a falling knife. Of course, it's kind of tempting to get into it for the short term because you're thinking, okay, there's a chance that we might see like something like this happen where you jump in at 9,500, you're able to get out at 10,500, and then you're done. But once again, that can be risky. You never, that's hard to time. So be careful, stop limits, the whole 9 yards. Let's take a look at Ethereum. So I'm bearish on Bitcoin for the next month based on what we just looked at, for those of you who don't know. Ethereum, I crack it a little bit. And let's go to the daily. I mean, Ethereum probably has the most aesthetically pleasing growth of anything. I mean, because everything like you learn to draw in triangle school, you know, here we go. And you remember, guys, if you were looking at Ethereum back in like November and you were drawing like these kind of graphs right here, and you were just like, it's getting closer, it's getting tighter, and then wow, and then absolutely absurd, just like bam, way up here. That's just ridiculous. So, but anyway, I did not mean to draw that line. Let's try to get rid of it. Okay. And yeah, I mean, Ethereum had this 1, 2, 5. It's a 5 wave, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave breakout. 5. This is like the perfect freaking Elliott wave. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom. So based on charts and nothing else, Ethereum might be setting up for another opportunity here. If we just do the wave counting, you know, just going back to that idea here. For those of you who are wondering, you know, what the hell is he talking about? I don't see it. I'm going to try to draw it on the graph here for you guys. So wave 1, and I'm going to draw the bull waves first here. So, and for those of you who like know how to do this, this is the idiotly simple part of it, but. And let's spread that out a little for you. Sorry, guys. This is my internet is being stupid right now, and I pay for the good stuff, so I'm a little annoyed by that. What's going on here? But anyway. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then subsequently, this would go so much faster if the computer were going to cooperate, but it's not. You know, in hindsight, this was just a waste of time, guys. I apologize. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Boom. All right. Now let's draw the trend of peaks, bear trend here. Corresponds real nice. Bull points. Once again, Ethereum just has a way of being very, very aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? I think Ethereum will be a good buy right now, just based on looking at this chart. And again, once again, not financial advice, but 789 seems like a good buy for Ethereum. And given the market sentiment, Bitcoin and anything with the word coin is leaving a negative taste in people's mouth, just at ground level, let's say. Ethereum has the exotic name. It's trendy. It didn't correct as hard during the initial, you know, Bitcoin went from 20 grand down to 5,800. Ethereum went from maybe like a day where it's like 13.5, you know, and not, well, you know, is it 1350, and then down to like 680. So I mean, it's not as big of a correction. So I mean, Ethereum, I would say bullish. If it goes below 750, and that basically on the chart here, if it breaks below this red line here, look for the double negative around 700. Maybe if you're real ambitious, set some buy orders in the low 600. You might catch it on a little short-term dip, and that would be real good, I would think. But definitely keep your eye on it. It's still very volatile, but I think Ethereum is a better buy than Bitcoin right now. Let's take a look at Ripple. Okay, XRP. That Kraken should do. I mean, they all get a lot of volume. Okay, Ripple on the daily chart. And Ripple of the three is the most volatile and the most absurd. And it's the one that most people feel like is being artificially manipulated. And when you really look at Ripple on a longer timetable, it's kind of ridiculous how many things seem to line up. So let's take a look at Ripple on the weekly, for example. I'm going to close this Bittrex tab until we need it. Maybe that'll help the computer run a little quicker. We're on Kraken. This is why we don't have enough history here. Let's try Bitfinex. Sorry, guys. I don't know which one of these exchanges has had a coin the longest. To hell with it. The point I'm making is that if you go way, way back, that you can, the trend of peaks seems to correspond. Needless to say, Ripple has been utterly absurd in how far it's come and how quickly and how much money flowed into it. We're talking December 11th, we're at 25 cents a share. And by, what's that day there? January the 1st, over $3. So what the hell, nails forward? It's just an absurd amount of growth in that period of time. And then we saw the crypto crash, and Ripple bit it in the ass harder than just about anybody. It sent it all the way down to from over $3 to 54 cents, sort of stabilized in the 70 cents area. And if you look at my videos a few days ago, I was graphing Ripple and saying that it looked pretty bullish based on some things that we're going to look at. We were looking at this sort of ascending triangle pattern where there was this peak, the sell-off, and then here, and saying that it could break above. Of course, the whole space took a downturn, and that's just the instance of the bigger fish turning everything around on you. So what we look for now is the new buy opportunity. So very steep sell-off. Market. It's a little more volatile than Ripcoin. No, not Ripcoin. It's more volatile than Bitcoin for sure. Let's try to see if there's any sort of trend we can draw here. I just call this the slope trend, where it looks like, when you're like doing a bike ramp as a kid and you just got to slope off before you fly up in the air. It looks like the way you'd have to land, And usually when that happens, you just sort of look for the ramp back up. But here, the market's not there. Oh, boy. Ripple had, it's probably got some support at between 70 and 80 cents, just based on the fact that it plateaued there for a while before the initial run up. It caught a plateau the last time. The question with Ripple, I think, is similar to Bitcoin with the way the charts look, in that they both came down a lot. They saw an initial comeback, and now they're having this downturn. And the question is, how far? Ripple, I don't like the project, but that's kind of beside the point here. Ripple has kind of the same advantage that Ethereum has, in that it's a name that is separated from Bitcoin, and it's also very cheap perceptually. We're talking about 86 cents a share. That sounds very cheap. You can buy, 500 shares for under $500. 500 shares of Ripple. I mean, it sounds like a lot. And it really isn't. We all know it isn't, and how many shares there are of Ripple, but a lot of people don't really understand that. So I'm like half bullish and bearish. Like I'm seeing a grizzly bear with bull horns on Ripple. Like it's possible, but I think the safest of the top three is going to be Ethereum right now. And I could eat my words on that, but that's just how I'm thinking about it here. Let's go over and take a look at the shit show, which is Byteball. And everything about the Byteball market over the last few days can be attributed to the announcement that they were canceling the March full moon distribution. And this was something that didn't surprise the the long holders and the veterans in the community, because they knew that distribution was always very tentatively scheduled. There's always the chance of it being canceled, because given how much Byteball really just deflated during the fall of appropriately named fall of 2017, Tony and the development team realized that this distribution method ain't working. The coin isn't being used for enough, and they said, okay, we're going to postpone the distribution for a few months. He tentatively scheduled one for March while they figured out what to do. The problem was the announcement was short, and it was in the fine print. So then when this announcement was made, just to put this on the perspective of the timetable here, was made in I think like early December or something. So this is before the Byteball market was starting to take off. Once it took off, it got the attention of some new buyers who saw the news about the tentative distribution. And needless to say, when the distribution got canceled, they felt like it was a bait and switch. And of course, it wasn't deliberately a bait and switch. It wasn't a scam or anything like that. But that's how it felt. And, to add insult to injury, a lot of people holding Byteball were really holding it just for the distribution. And they saw it as free money, as a way to scalp profits and so on. And now they're like, well, to hell with this crap, we're out of it. So we saw Byteball going from having a very bullish chart that I've been talking about, having this first little wave up, a second wave up, to just bad news can turn a market around. I've said that in many of my videos, and this is no exception, and it's incredibly frustrating. Because this action right here effectively nullifies the rest of this chart here. Because with regard to the whole of the previous trend, meaning that the lowest here, all the way up to here, broke through all of it. It's done. So now we got to look for some evidence of support in the previous trend, the one before the last one. And that can be a loose correlation. It's depressing. To be honest, I think that 0.04 for Byteball represents a pretty reasonable bottom. It represents the top peaks of the trend before the initial run-up. And it was stable in that, not stable, but it hovered in that area for quite a while during the last run-up. And given how much it came down, even if it's bearish for a little while, another run-up. So as a short-term buy, I think Byteball is quite good, actually, given that. Just taking a look at the chart here. Even if this were, as they say, a dead cat bounce, these things happen in markets. Things just don't, unless you're freaking BitConnect, it's not going to completely die. I mean, Byteball's still there, it still works, and it works quite well. It still has the use cases. It still has a community. It's just, I think the community needs to really have an honest conversation with itself and get involved more and help guide the direction of the marketing. Because until that happens, the project will stagnate. And the biggest issue with Byteball is that you can't buy it anywhere else than Bittrex and Cryptox and stuff. It needs to be on more exchanges. We've said that a whole lot of times. All right, guys, hold on here. I'm going to come back over to the camera here. No, not opening camera, man. That's not what I'm trying to do. Right here. Hey, there we go. So, yeah, I mean, just absolutely thoroughly depressed about Byteball. And you know what, guys? I think I'll just go live again to do a video specifically about Byteball because I really got a whole lot to say about it. And so let's do that.